At the Office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah and Matt.
Cleveland! Welcome into The Office, the show where we talk all things Cleveland sports. I'm your host, Noah, joined with my co-host, Matt, and you can join us too here at The Office. Simply text the show 216-260-3433. Shoot us a message, whether you're watching on X, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. We'll answer it. We'll talk. We will chat with you during the live show. And shout out everybody listening to the post version on YouTube as well. Leave a comment. And anybody listening on the podcast realm as well, make sure you hit the download button. Matt, 'twas the night before opening day in the land. How are you feeling, man?
It's so funny to me that you make that reference. I've been feeling like a kid on Christmas Eve all day. I can't wait. I thought that earlier today. I had to slip that in somehow, and it's perfect you make the reference to start the show. I couldn't be more excited.
Day. Yeah, I'm ecstatic as well. Matt, we've been doing this for a minute now together. I sent you the memory of the first time we went together. Today, it was, 3 years ago or whatever. I'm ecstatic, man. Are you feeling good?
Oh, I can't wait. It's perfect Cleveland weather for baseball. It's going to be a great time.
I'll give the weather forecast here in a second. I'm just excited, man. I'm just really excited to be back in the ballpark tomorrow. Hell, the game will be over about this time. We're less than 24 hours away from first pitch. But today we have one prerogative, one objective, and that is to tell you everything you should know for Guardians opening day. Two guys who have done it a little bit, kind of a little bit more lackadaisical in terms of the topic, just some tips and tricks if it's your first time. Maybe it's your second or third time and you didn't know or aren't caught up on all the latest Guardians Stadium, Progressive Field news. And the first bit of news I would like to get into is what I hinted at to start, and that's the weather report. It is going to be windy. It's going to be cold. It is 30 degrees and snowy tomorrow, so make sure you are bundled up because it is going to be a rough one for us Guardians fans. Stay warm. Alcohol blankets count too. Drink responsibly. But let's get after it tomorrow. Matt, what's your first tip?
So my first tip is, you got to get downtown early. It's always a madhouse for opening day, obviously, but you got to give yourself plenty of time to get down and enjoy one of Cleveland's many great restaurants and bars. Obviously, if you are of age, enjoy the bar aspect, drink responsibly, please. But you got to hit one of them.
Speaking of, hold on. Speaking of drinking responsibly, Matt, that is a perfect segue for today and every day's video and podcast sponsor. That is D&D Meadery. Derek and Dominic, two twin brothers from Northeast Ohio, bringing back the ancient craft of mead making. Honey wine, for those who are not familiar with the word mead. Look at Matt's got his own bottle. What flavor is that, Matt?
This is one of their new flavors, actually, the maple syrup mead. I can't wait to crack this open and try it after the show.
Yeah, you better be bringing that to Cleveland tomorrow so we can try it before we hit out on the town and enjoy baseball responsibly. Listen, use code @the-office CLE for 5% off today. Buy 2 bottles, you get a free shot glass. You cannot beat the deals here. It is fantastic, locally sourced, locally made honey wine mead. Please drink responsibly. 21 years age or older to purchase. Let's get back into opening day though, Matt. We're talking drinking a little bit. It is a holiday of boozing that is opening day. And there's a tailgate hosted every year across the street from Rocket Arena by Beverage Distributor, the biggest alcohol distributor of the greater Cleveland area. It's great every year. They gave out free t-shirts normally. Last year's had the eclipse on it because the eclipse was going on during opening day. Beer, free music, events. There's stuff for the kids too, I believe, like face painting, this, that, and the third. Make sure you go check it out if you haven't before. Even if you're not of age to drink, it is still worth it. Again, free music, free merch. It's totally worth the stop. Matt, what is your next tip?
So playing off Noah, being our good little weather boy a little earlier in this segment, I'm going to double down on, it's going to be cold. Everybody knows that. It's been drilled into your head for about a week now. If you're going, you know that. I think one of the keys, especially with the new renovations and the new seats, is going to be having something to put underneath you, in between you and the seat. Those, especially if you're out in the bleachers, that's what's going to sap most of your body heat away, keep you freezing cold throughout the game. That's going to be a key to stay warm, comfortable, and enjoy the game the most.
Listen, I know this is a nice tongue-in-cheek, here's a couple tips, let's have some fun. But what's with the old man? Bring a seat warmer.
Hey man, once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout. Shout out RJ the Sig.
You are funny. I know Matt mentioned being late, but I cannot stress enough being early to downtown Cleveland because gates open 2 hours early for this game. If you're doing standing room / the ballpark pass like I am, you're going to want to get there early because I, did a stumble. We'll leave it at a stumble in there last year. And it was a packed. It was hard to find a place to stand and actually see and not just be walking around. So make sure if you're going that route, and it's still worth it because those standing room seats, standing room tickets right down below are just as good as the seats. You just have to stand sometimes. It depends. Just make sure you're there and be there at a decent amount of time so you can get yourself a good standing room spot. Matt, what's your last tip for the people out there in this nice little intro segment?
I think this is the most important tip we're going to give anybody. This is, the key, most important part of tomorrow. Like we said, day before Christmas right now. It's baseball eve. Just enjoy baseball. It's back in Cleveland. It's one of the most electric sports Cleveland has. It's a great time to be a Clevelander.
I couldn't have put it any better myself. And speaking of things I couldn't put any better myself, Matt, tell the people about the pregame festivities that are going on tomorrow with the Cleveland Guardians and their opening day.
So, obviously it's opening day. Had to kind of bust out all the stars for this one, The thing I'm personally most excited for, Captain Jack Sawyer, national champion, throwing out the first pitch to the son of Rocky Colavito, former Indians player. I can say that because he was an Indian. I think that's really cool, though. They're bringing Jack Sawyer out. That's awesome. He represents, the whole state of Ohio well, but that's going to be fun. Some other stuff going on is the string section of the Cleveland Orchestra is going to be playing the national anthem for us. We're going to have a flyover of the C-130H Hercules from the Youngstown Reserve Air Wing. That should be pretty cool. I always love the flyover.
The flyover every year. The flyover, listen, I've done many opening days, but the flyovers they did for the playoffs when I got to go to that Yankee series, chills, man. Chills. Continue on, though.
Outside of that, you have the grandson of Larry Dolan, Jack. He's going to be delivering the game ball to the pitcher's mound before the game. So I think that's cool, kind of honoring him. That's kind of what they got going for the, pregame, get opening day going festivities.
Well, there is one thing that you're kind of missing, and it's something that the Guardians have been doing a bunch of on social media. And I'm kind of curious as to what your thoughts are, because I have some thoughts as to what these vignettes are. I'm going to play the vignette. Apologies to the podcast listeners, only non-visual listeners, but check out the video on the Guardian social or go check us out on YouTube. Shameless plug. Here's the video of what's going on with the Guardians right now on social media. So Matt, I gotta ask you, what's in the box?
Oh my god. I have no idea. I kind of have two theories running on it.
Okay.
One of them I'm kind of more leaning towards. I don't know what they possibly could be doing with it, but the way everybody reacted when they, kind of peeked into it, saw what was in it, they were scared of it. What are you scared of? Monsters. I don't know what they'd be doing, but it might tie into right across the street there. You got the Cleveland Monsters playing. I don't know what they possibly could be doing. Maybe, a weird custom alternate jersey or who knows, who knows?
Maybe I feel like it would be really anticlimactic if it was a Monsters appearance, like the Monsters are going to be there for something like the players or whatever. My initial thought process for those who were listening to the audio, there was a little drum beat going on, like the rally drum back in the day. I don't know if they're going to bring that back in terms of some of their in-game sound, and that's what's in the box. If they're going to bring back someone to actually pound the drum, like the late great drummer that was in the bleachers. I don't know. You said you had two theories. What was your second theory?
Well, I kind of tied them together there at the end. The other one was it could be, like a alternate jersey of some
Yeah.
sort. The one thing I kind of have going against that though is the MLB's been weird with how they're doing alternates with the City Connects. They don't really let too much outside of those happen. So that would be kind of a shock to me.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a throwback jersey because there was some on the box in the original video. I know I didn't play that one. It had something to do with like the 20s or something like that. Maybe a throwback hat that they're going to wear for select games during like the City Connect. That's something that just popped in my head. I don't know. I'm excited to see what the hell's in the box tomorrow when I'm freezing my ass off in Progressive Field. You got any other theories you want to touch on with that real quick or? Okay, cool.
I think that's all I got.
The last thing I want to get into real quick when we're talking about Guardians, what you should know, Guardians opening day 101 is some of the stadium renovations. Again, apologies to the audio only listening viewers. Just skip a minute ahead. There's going to be some music playing at least. There's this video I found, shout out for, I believe 92.3 The Fan. If not, it's ESPN Cleveland, showing some of the renovations and that kind of thing. So I'm going to play that for our visual viewers, and then we're going to talk about what's going on in said video. So that was a little breakdown, a little picture slideshow, courtesy of 92.3 The Fan, showing everything that is involved in terms of the renovations for this year. Obviously, a majority of the blue seats are in. That's the biggest and most obvious one. First one I want to talk about, then I'll pass it over to you, Matt, is the Terrace District enhancements. The Terrace District in left field, which is where the big ugly glass panes were for years and years in Progressive Field, and then there was just a Guardians logo over it to begin with. Has a reimagined beer hall, has a bunch of different things going on. There's the North Coast Social, which is a very bougie suite type of thing going on. I'm curious if the Terrace Hall, the reimagined beer hall that's going on over there is open to the regular Guardians fan, because I noticed in the pictures, and I didn't notice it the first couple times, there was a handle for the beer, for the beer tap, that said Guardians Ale. And now I'm curious what Guardians Ale tastes like. Other than that, though, you got to see some pictures there involved, some of the cool local artwork that was done for those sections. But that's really what ended up going in over there. I would suggest if you have a seat going over there and trying to check out and see if you can get in and see some of those areas. Obviously, the boxes are going to be blocked off, but the beer hall, I'm not 100% sure. Matt, tell them about the team shop.
So it was highlighted in some of the pictures in the slideshow Noah was so gracious to put up for all of us. But to talk about, some of the new options you have, there's going to be a bunch of new brands in the team store that haven't been there before. So you'll have a lot of new options in terms of shirts, hoodies, hats, stuff like that, as well as, welcome to 2025 in Cleveland. You can finally customize a jersey in the team shop. I don't understand why it took us this long to get here. We're finally there, though, and that's exciting.
I thought you could. Oh, no, because they would print it and then bring it down to the team shop. You had to order it at that kiosk. You're right. I was like, what do you mean? Because you ordered a custom. You could, but it was a lengthy process, and they would text you and tell you to come back via their own. Yeah, I remember now. I'm excited to check out the team store. I am a big merchandise buyer, and I'm curious to see what some of that looks like as some of the game used and game worn stuff starts filtering in there. I thought they did a fantastic job with the temporary team store that was outside of the stadium last year. So as long as it is a similar version to that with better air control in terms of heat and cold when the elements are at the worst, I'm all here for it. The last thing I want to highlight is, of course, something that you should be trying if you're not going to get a chance to go check out the restaurants and everything in downtown and stimulate that side of the local economy. There is a lot of new foods, including the Guardian Burger. There is a spicy pepperoni flatbread coming to Market Garden. There's a cheesesteak. There's a jumbo fried mozzarella stick. There's a lot of different things that I encourage you to go out there and check out. You always got some of your weird, different foods. The slider dog with the Fruit Loops on it. I almost said Honey Nut Cheerios. You remember that from last year? I think that's making a return again. So there's plenty of things to dive into and check out during your 2-hour wait for the game to start at the ballpark. And I encourage you, in fact, I implore you, if you have a seat, to go and dabble around the ballpark, because that is one of the coolest things, I think. I feel like baseball is always good about renovating, updating, adding new things to their stadiums. And that is a perfect opportunity to be first in line for a lot of those different things. Don't you agree, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely excited to check out some of the new stuff, and I can't wait to get into the team store. They traded away my favorite player. I need a new jersey now.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, man. Listen, I'm going to take us to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears from the Guards, go to the lowly Browns, talk a little bit of draft before we wrap up our Monday show here on opening day eve in Cleveland. You're listening to At the Office, a Cleveland sports show. We'll be back after these commercial messages. And we are back at the office talking all things Cleveland sports. We really appreciate you spending a little chunk of your Monday night or in your free time when you watch the re-recording of this podcast. Please check us out on all socials at The Office CLE. That is @ The Office CLE. Make sure you check out the merch store where you can get a beautiful mug like this. Some of the merch that you've seen us wear in the past. That is at theofficecle.com. Lastly, shout out Bands for Sports Network for supporting everything we do here at the office. Matt, let's talk a little bit more NFL draft. We are slowly approaching what is, unfortunately, a very exciting time to be a Cleveland Browns fan. And there's been some more rumors, interest, intrigue that has come out in terms of some prospect names taking top 30 visits, coming to talk to the Browns. The Browns were out in Colorado for what was their pro day. They couldn't call it a pro day because the Big 12, they're in the Big 12, right?
Yep.
The Big 12, right? Or are they the Pac-12? No, the Big 12. The Pac-12. What am I doing? They're in the Big. Yeah, no, it's the Pac-2. I know. I don't know what I'm doing. The Big 12 had their own pro day and none of the Colorado people performed at it, so they could do their own thing. Regardless, Matt, let's get into. I have 7 options here. I want you to grade it, and this is going to be some situational grading, right? Obviously, there's 4 key names tied to the Browns at number 2, 3 other ones that I have included here as well. And this whole thing gets kicked off by someone who is coming to visit the Browns on a top 30 visit, one Mason Graham. And think of this as definitely the Browns trade back and decide to take Mason Graham. What would you rate this? Give me your grade, Ben.
You know, if we were to trade back and get Mason Graham, I'd probably give it about a C+, I think. I think D tackle is definitely a hole in this. He's definitely going to be a game-wrecking playmaker, but I just think we have bigger holes that we need to address, and we can definitely fill with this draft.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was going to rank this super low because I'm very anti-trade back, especially with what our record was last year. But I have to go C+ because I think Mason Graham is going to be a perennial Pro Bowler in the NFL. So trading back and getting him isn't going to be the end of the world. I would just rather stay put at 2 and get one of the top prospects in the draft. Speaking of the top prospects in the draft, we have one, Abdul Carter. Give me a grade.
I gave this one an A. He's been my pick since, we started talking the draft on this show. I think you pair him with Myles Garrett. That's a lethal edge duo. If we're sticking at 2, this is who I think we should take.
So this is going to come as a bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go C+ for this one as well. And I'm going to tell you why. I have cooled very hard on the Abdul Carter train. Not that I don't think he's a good prospect. Not that I think he could be a good prospect or a good player for the Cleveland Browns. But because I think there are multiple, 3 better options for the Cleveland Browns in terms of positional need, in terms of, I don't want to say talent, but mainly positional need and being on the side of the ball that was the absolute worst last year, and that is offense. Abdul Carter, I think, could be great. Abdul Carter feels like a very much luxury pick to me at this point in time for a team that does not have the right to make a luxury pick because the only quarterback on their roster is Kenny Pickett. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a quarterback guy, and I've made that very abundantly clear the last couple of weeks on the show, whether it be on Monday or Friday. I just think, I mean, we'll get into the other prospects, but I think out of the 4 prospects that could end up in the Cleveland Browns lap at number 2, he would be my last one I would pick, only because it's not a positional need. You have Myles Garrett. It's not like having a running mate with a all-pro perennial defensive player of the year end amounts to anything. We've seen these pair-ups happen before and not much come out of them. Are you shocked by my grade, Matt?
I'm not necessarily shocked. I kind of figured you were going to be lower. I am kind of surprised you gave him a C. I figured the lowest you would get with him is like a B, just because he looks like such a great player. But I understand where you're coming from, and I get the whole luxury pick idea. That makes sense 100%. I've just always been a fan of doubling down on what you're strong at to get elite.
You wouldn't say we're elite already, though, at edge? I mean, you have the best defender in football. I almost said baseball. I'm still stuck on last topic. What did you say?
Half of the edge is elite, but if we could make the other half also elite, you can't stop that. You're always going to have somebody one-on-one.
Maybe you're right. And if Abdul Carter comes here and is fantastic, I'm not going to complain at all. If I'm in the Andrew Berry seat, there's 3 other prospects on the board in my mind that I would rather take over him. But we'll table that for now, and we'll go on to the next prospect, which is is it going to load? Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. What would you grade him and why?
So I'm kind of assuming this.
Yes, it's a trade back. That's why I said, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So obviously, we trade back. I've seen him mocked, and I don't know where you were thinking when you graded this, but like somewhere around like the 7 to 10 range.
Yeah.
So I just kind of imagine we trade back to 7 and, not diving too deep into like whatever the package would be and all that. I'd give it an A. I think, kind of the same thing, but on offense. You put Ashton Genty with Nick Chubb. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks with Nick Chubb, but
If he's even
regardless,
coming back. Yeah, right.
ideally Nick Chubb. I'm living in that cloud of he's a Cleveland Brown till the day he
Right.
retires, and I refuse to leave it until it's not the truth. Anyway, you pair them up, you have a very good combo. He can learn from him and then become the next dominant back for the next, 4 years, because that's all you get out of a running back in the NFL. Anywho, I would love the pick though. I think he's an electric player.
So this one's hard for me because I am very, 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 very anti-trade back, as I said in the Mason Graham conversation. But I do think Ashton Genty is going to be a fantastic player in the NFL. And I think we are a team that is going to be run heavy and deserves a good running back. So I would have to, I'm going to leave it at a B. And the only reason it's getting dragged down in my mind is because of the fact that I don't want them to trade back. But if they traded back, had a good package, and got Genty, I'm not really going to complain too much. But again, it also feels like a luxury pick because, this running back class is so deep that you don't need the number one guy to still get a really damn good running back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 4 or 5 backs in this class that I think could all end up winning Rookie of the Year, depending on where they go.
For sure. Next prospect, you ready to go? Or you got anything else on our man from Boise? All right, let's get after it. Cam Ward, what do you rank him and why?
I rank him somewhere in the middle of a B to a B minus, a B minus plus, if you will. I couldn't pick one between the two. I think he's, again, he's going to be good in the NFL. The reason he's, in that lower B range, though, is I don't know if his play style fits Cleveland's as well as another option in this class does. And I'm also not big on, the top quarterbacks this year myself. So I wouldn't want us to make this pick, but if the Cleveland front office thinks it's the right pick, I'm willing to trust them for at least a week or two.
So I rate this an A. He is widely regarded as the number one quarterback in this class, but I have my own hesitations, hence why it's not an A plus in my mind. The same ones that you do. Honestly, I'd go a little bit lower, but if he falls from 1 to 2 to us, that gives me a little bit more credit to rate him a little bit higher. I think Cam Ward has all the talent and then some to be a good, productive NFL quarterback, but he gives me some of the shakiness, some of the poor decision making that you kind of look back at Jameis Winston when he went out and was like, oh yeah, his career up to this point now makes sense. Not comparing him completely to Jameis Winston. Cam Ward has an elite arm. He has a lot of good traits. I just worry he doesn't fit the Cleveland Browns, like you said. So I give it an A, just because it is a position that I would prefer the Browns draft as high as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you on that pretty much 100%.
Next one, Campbell, LSU. Trade back, obviously, at this point. What do you rate it and why?
So this is another, mid, slightly lower B to me. Obviously, I like the idea of trading back. I've said that multiple times on the show. Me and Noah disagree about that wholeheartedly, and that's fine. I just think this is a little bit less so, but also a luxury pick if we were to do this. Our offensive line is not great anymore by any means, and it is old. But I like we've said multiple times, we have bigger holes we need to address. The offensive line is workable for now. It's, you can survive with what we have. You can win with what we have. It can get better, but just not right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Will Campbell, to me, it's tough. I give it like a C minus because I don't want them to trade back. I don't know if he's going to be a true tackle in the NFL. He's doing everything in his power to show that he can be a tackle in the NFL. And that's the main positional need for the Cleveland Browns in terms of the offensive line. But we also brought in Jenkins. We have we have Wyatt Teller. We have Joel Bitonio in terms of if this guy shakes out to be a guard. It gets to be a crowded room. Yes, he's younger than all of those names. So trading back and getting a guy that you don't know where he'll actually fit in the offensive line, to me, just gives D plus C minus, because you should have just stayed at 2. Not saying I'm knocking Will as a prospect. I want to be abundantly clear when I say D plus C minus that I'm not knocking him as a prospect. I think he's going to have a great NFL career. I just don't know about his fit, and I don't know about trading back and then selecting him, what that really means. I also want to note real quick, aside from Genty, all of the prospects we're talking about have taken visits, workouts, dinners, etc. with the Cleveland Browns. So there is some validity to this aside from just here are the top 7 prospects, arguably. Let's talk about it. Matt, next prospect, heavily rumored to the Browns as of late, Travis Hunter. Give me a rating.
I think this one might shock you. I gave this one a D.
That's insane. Go ahead. Please tell me why. Tell me so I can tell you why you're wrong.
I have been a Travis Hunter hater since day one. I will stand on that hill. I think he was a phenomenal college ball player that found success in a scheme that isn't going to translate that well to the NFL. And he stole the Heisman from Ashton Genty. Not that that matters in this segment. I just want to throw that out there. I don't see him translating to the NFL as well as everybody else seems to. I know I very well could be wrong on this one, but he's a mediocre corner and a mediocre receiver. Cleveland doesn't need either of those things.
That's insane to me. Give me 1 second. So I give this an A+. I think this is the number 1 pick for the Cleveland Browns at number 2, even though I am a hard Shedeur Sanders guy. And we'll talk a little bit more about my Hunter and Sanders and my hope for what the Browns do in the NFL drafts come Wednesday when me and Eric tackle that head on. But we'll look at the prospect of Travis Hunter. You say he's a scheme fit. That's funny to me, because he's done it at the FCS level, he's done it at the FBS level, he's done it at the high school level in terms of not only being elite, he's not been average, he has been elite. We're talking 4 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 33 tackles, 1 forced fumble as a corner. We're talking 96 receptions, 1,258 yards, 15 receiving touchdowns, 13 yards per reception last year as a Buffalo in Colorado. This guy has shown on multiple levels, wherever he goes, people have doubted him that he can play both ways. And he said, haha, that's funny. Let me do it and do it better than your best player because I can. I think this guy is a unicorn. We need to accept that he's a unicorn. I think he is a fantastic fit anywhere he goes. And I'm really excited and really hopeful to see him in the orange and brown, because I think he hits not 1, but maybe 2 positional needs of corner and wide receiver, depending on how they break up those snaps. I am high on Travis Hunter. I've been high on Travis Hunter all season. I said he should win the Heisman instead of Genty. This has been something me and Matt have butted heads on off camera, obviously, because we haven't talked as much about college football here on the page. In terms of me and Matt, we did do the college pick'em earlier this year. I think Travis Hunter is a fantastic prospect. I think he makes sense a majority of places in the NFL, and I think he's going to be an elite, fruitful, fantastic NFL player. And you're wrong, Matt.
I mean, I truly hope that I am wrong and you are right, because that would be such an awesome, exciting thing to watch. And like, I'm not rooting for the kid to be bad. I really want him to be exactly what he's supposed to be. I just personally don't see it. And in my mind, I don't want Cleveland to take that risk. However, I do know that, I'm definitely in the minority with doubting him now at this point. It seems to be most everybody agrees he's going to be good. And I don't see it. But like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I want to see him dominate both sides of the ball for 10 years. That'd be awesome to watch. I just don't really think it's going to happen.
I think even if he doesn't, he is going to be an elite player one way for one team, where whoever he goes. And, I think of certain, positional needs for the Cleveland Browns, and it could go either way. Andrew Berry has called him a wide receiver in the media. I think he could be a fantastic wide receiver. I mean, the proof is in the pudding with the stats I just read you in terms of his senior year, and that's with a workload of playing cornerback as well. I'm just really excited to see him play regardless, because it's going to be a highlight reel on national television, even if he's not in the orange and brown. Matt, we could debate it. Let's get to our last prospect to talk about today, which is my only, Shedeur Sanders. What do you rate it? Give it a grade. And we're going to leave this at pick number 2. This is a pick number 2 grade.
So I graded him out as a B+. I think he's the Cleveland Browns quarterback of this draft. If you're looking at one of the top guys, I think there's a few guys later in the draft that could be really good, but I think he's the best scheme fit for Cleveland in terms of quarterback, our biggest need. Obviously, we've talked about him before, so I don't want to dive too deep into it, but yeah, I think he'd be a good pick, and if we're going quarterback, he should be the one.
Yeah, that is my thought process as well. I don't think Cam Ward's really going to be there at 2. I think he is the perfect scheme fit in terms of the Cleveland Browns. I think I've sung Shedeur's praises multiple times here on the channel now. In a perfect world, in a magical world that we'll get into on Wednesday, so tune in then at 9 p.m. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are both Cleveland Browns, which is something that has been rumored around the streets of Cleveland. I give Shedeur, I'm going to say an A. I know I gave Cam an A too, but I give Shedeur an A. It's the biggest positional need for the Cleveland Browns. I think he's the best scheme fit, like you said. I think he is a natural leader. I think he knows how to face adversity. I think he is the most pro-ready at this moment, which isn't always a good thing, but I think in a Kevin Stefanski offense, he is going to shine and do wonders. There's multiple connections to Colorado. The current offensive coordinator's friends with Kevin Stefanski. Our quarterbacks coach is friends with Deion Sanders. There's a lot of under the table happenings that make sense there, as there is with Jalen Milroe and some other players in this draft. Don't get me wrong. I am high on Shedeur. I think if they think this is their guy, they shouldn't be cute. They should just take him at 2 and move on and go with it. And that's just my thought. My other thought is this is how the NFL draft is going to go for the Cleveland Browns. And that is a Colorado player, no matter what. A little draft day reference to wrap up the show for us. We will be, in fact, taking a Colorado player, no matter what. So, Matt, you can take Abdul Carter and follow him wherever he goes, but I don't think he will be a Cleveland Brown.
I absolutely love the draft day reference. For as horrible of a actual true to football movie it is a phenomenal movie to watch anyway.
I watch it every year the Wednesday before draft day. My girlfriend hates me for it because I make her watch it with me every single year. But yeah, we are all in on Shedeur over here, and we're all in on Colorado, in my opinion, in terms of the Cleveland Browns. Matt, buddy, it has been a good show. We've given the people some knowledge in terms of the Cleveland Guardians. We talked NFL draft. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before I wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I just want to double down on, most electric sport in Cleveland's back. Enjoy baseball season. Let's get it.
So excited for tomorrow. Everybody be safe out there tomorrow. Stay warm. Do your thing. You've been listening to At the Office, a Cleveland Sports Show. Remember to subscribe or hit the download button. Check us out on all social medias @The Office CLE. Have a great night. Have a great day whenever you're watching. Until next time, Cleveland, stay up, stay blessed. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend some time with us.